GRINDSET, inside the mind of successful entrepreneurs with your host, Cynthia Daniels and Williams Brack.
Welcome back to another episode of GRINDSET. I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels, Chief Event Strategist of Cynthia Daniels and Company.
And I'm Williams Brack, your favorite banker.
And today's guest is Daniel Watson. And we are still quarantined, but we are still capturing these amazing stories from entrepreneurs so they can continue to inspire our GRINDSET audience. So Daniel Watson actually is carrying his grandmother's legacy. If you don't know his products, he offers a lot of really good cinnamon rolls, a lot of yeast goods that are in some of our favorite Memphis restaurants.
You had me at a Morehouse grad and cinnamon rolls. So I've been excited about this interview ever since I saw he was Morehouse class of 03. And I'm really looking forward to finding out more about the business.
Absolutely. He started out this business in his 20s, and we really don't see that a lot. So we have a lot to learn today.
So GRINDSET, we'll be right back with Daniel Watson of Beneva Mayweather Foods, and we'll be right back after the break.
GRINDSET.
I'm Leslie Lynn Smith, President and CEO of Epicenter, and we've partnered with KUDZUKIAN. Each episode, hosts Cynthia Daniels and Williams Brack talk shop with Memphis' brightest and best entrepreneurs. Check it out by downloading the KUDZUKIAN app or find us on your favorite podcast provider.
Well, no, you had the Buffalo game, but understand New York and upstate New York, they are not moderates by any measure.
They may not,
Am I not right?
They may not be, but guess what? Even conservatives get sick.
Funky politics.
On the KUDZUKIAN Network.
GRINDSET.
Welcome back to GRINDSET. We are so excited to have Daniel Watson, owner and operator of Beneva Mayweather Foods. Welcome to GRINDSET. How you doing today?
I'm well, Cynthia. What's going on? Brack, what's happening, brother? Y'all doing all right?
We're good. We're hungry.
Yeah,
I know that.
We're glad to have the king of cinnamon rolls in.
Hey, let's virtually get it out there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, they're my favorite. And you have a very cool story. So we're just going to jump into it. For those that are listening, tell us, what is Beneva Mayweather Foods and how you even got started?
It's a food product development business, specializing in food products that are the backbone or the key products that my grandmother used, Beneva Mayweather, in her catering business that I was kind of born into, and she started in 1973. She, before that, was a head chef at the Memphis Hunt and Polo Club. And through the encouragement of the members, she went and started her own catering business. So those people were her clientele, word of mouth. And she just built a catering business specializing in fine Southern exotic cuisines, simple down-home meals, and just catered it to, fortunately, a customer mix that allowed us to have a very, very strong catering business. And I was born in 1980. Everything was made from scratch.
Wow.
So my crib was in the kitchen that I used to work out of. So, I'm entrenched in, just
I love it.
The Southern, cuisine, peeling in the vein and shrimp, lamb, driving all over the city you don't get apple mint jelly, which is a common mint jelly in grocery stores. You get mint jelly for lamb, and just being able to pinpoint supply chains and understanding that customer service is the primary focus of any business, especially food service, and especially when you're dealing with catering, and just to, make the customer always first. And so from that foundation, I ended up, living my life in that world, went and graduated from Morehouse, but my grandmother passed my freshman year in college. So
shout out to Morehouse and shout out to your grandmother.
Yeah.
Beneva
Mayweather.
We do. Yeah, Brack, shout out, and the grandma, looking down, make sure I don't mess up for sure. After that point, I was kind of my aunt, she was the main woman that raised me. Like, that's my mother's sister. Her and my grandmother were the ones, they had me since second grade. And so she took over, but she was trying to carry that hat of my grandmother and be that wizard that my grandmother was. Like, she has a real, in certain circles, I'm assuming people that got know it, but my grandmother's name in culinary food is synonymous with just excellence in the city, which I'm fortunate enough to be a part of. So she tried to carry that banner, but she ended up getting sick, had tons of health complications, almost passed away herself.
Wow.
So as a result of me being in Morehouse, and she still managed to get me through college, her daughter through law school, and just,
Incredible.
Seeing and witnessing that and looking, and I'm coming out of Morehouse, I got graduated with honors, got, these job offers, can pretty much go get good entry level positions. But I'm thinking, okay, I want to go back and basically retire her and give my family what they've given me. Just, it was pretty emotionally draining for me to kind of not be with my mom or my dad, and just knowing that I'm not with them, but having to, I'm feeling like, man, I'm an orphan. I don't want to be that. That's why I gravitated to school and basketball. And I just really put all my work and energy into that. And it benefited me so where I could come out. And now I'm in a position where I got these job offers, and I'm like, okay, I want to go back. She almost died. I know she probably needs some help. And let me go take my knowledge and what I learned here for these entry level positions. Let's put it back in this 4 decade plus at that time. By the time I graduated, 4 decades in, and let's see if we can, transition it to something greater. And food is pretty much recession proof if you think about it. So unless, resources are totally depleted, people have to eat. And so I came back and got into it. And yes, sir, go ahead.
But when you say food product development business, that means I don't understand what that is. Can you tell us a little bit about the business and what exactly that means?
So if you want to, let's say people, what's your favorite food product? What do you like? Give me a brand, give me a name, type of item that you like to purchase. Is there a particular type of chicken when you like pre-made, or you like them raw?
So I can cook them.
Okay, so that's different from what I do. That's pretty much processing. So if I were to be in that space, I would have a farm with chickens, and I would raise them, process them, and ship them out to the stores for them to package and individually place on the shelf. What I provide are products that are pre-packaged and already made. So if I want to come up with item, I started with seasoning. I pivoted into baked goods because I needed to be in control of the manufacturing, and the co-packing costs are extremely exorbitant, and not being disciplined with the minimal space that I had. I had Kroger, and they gave me like 80 stores. And then I told them at that pitch meeting, I said, look, don't give me that many because I know I can't fulfill it. Let me kind of build myself up, but I'll just take the Memphis market. But still, in that space, you have to have a ton of upfront capital, and me just, not making the proper moves, making mistakes. I didn't have it. So I developed those products to start introducing the Beneva Mayweather brand to the consumer market in the packaged goods side. So I developed seasoning based upon her seasonings that she utilized in her successful business. And these were the items that staples in some of the menu items that she made: chicken, all-purpose fish seasoning, then the breading for deep frying, and the baked goods were similar to what she utilized in her catering business. And then eventually it'll be frozen entrees. But that's just basically every product you see on the shelf. It isn't raw meat and vegetables. That's gone through a development process. So if you want to come up with a food product, I'm someone that will be able to take you step by step through what it would take to get that product to market, how you mass produce it, how do you ensure it's compliant with regulators, FDA, USDA with raw meats and vegetables, but I'm strictly dealing with the FDA because of the packaged aspect of it. And you just put it on the market from start to finish until the consumer buys it, and then ensure they're going to come back and buy it. And that's basically food product development in a nutshell.
Daniel, I appreciate you sharing the background, but if you're anything like me, when I left Morehouse, I left with student loans. But the difference is you and I took the entry level job. You didn't. So how did you finance the beginning of Beneva Mayweather Foods? The GRINDSET audience just wants to know.
Okay, well, at the time I graduated, I came back to Memphis in 2004. So this is right before the bubble burst. So they were pretty much giving away money. People were doing real estate deals, and they were giving away money. Like, go get a house you can't afford, whatever. So I was like, all right, my homeboys were doing that. They were just like, man, getting lines of credit, like get the money, worry about paying it back later. And I just felt that was irresponsible to the ecosystem of just business. So I went to the BBB. I got the first $5,000 loan from one of the SBA loans products they had, and I started the business. And I took that money and I developed the seasoning line. I had it out the trunk. Sold it out the trunk, got a deal with Piggly Wiggly and Easy Way, and just started to build up that. And I knew, okay. And then like I said, my business plan already knew that, because I tried to do a caper dressing my grandmother had on the market back in the 80s at like Tallheimers and boutique stores. Then we do peppermint ice cream every winter. But in the ice cream space, if you don't have, number one, visibility, which means you got to have that entire freezer door, if not 2 or 3 freezer doors full of your brand. Right. And if you're not rotating that product out in 30 days, you got to buy it back. So those 2 categories weren't feasible for me to come in entry level, to your point, Brack, with very little money, to try to build this swell and this presence on the market. So seasoning allowed me to do that. Plus, I was still living at home and limiting my expenses, and I was helping out in the catering business because that still was kind of thriving and helped me to get little money here and there to just go out and pay for the little setup for the demos. Man, I was doing demos in Piggly Wiggly's, the smaller stores, Easy Way, just selling chicken seasoning. And it just kind of helped me to kind of learn the business, learn the game. And then from that point, I went back. I think I got 2 loans before the bubble burst, and then they quit loaning money, period. But by that time, I had already established myself like Kroger. When I first, in 2008, I finally got to the point where I'm in this space. They came in and said, we don't want just one product, we want multiple products. So that's why I developed all those other SKUs just to be compliant with their marketing, and then got into there. And then I just used that to leverage different relationships. And I eventually pivoted into roles because I didn't have enough money to re-up the seasoning nor enough stores to sustain it by itself.
Well, you kind of glossed over how you got into Kroger, how you got into Piggly Wiggly, how you got into Easy Way. Did you just show up and show them your spices and they say, hey, put it on the shelf, or how did that process?
Okay, two different side. Local vendors, like the local guys, you can do it like that. They're very much open. When you're dealing with the larger big box retailers, I had to take a flight to Cincinnati. I had scheduled a meeting with the buyer, and like it's their buying period. They have review periods for each category. You got general grocery, you got bakery, you got the processed meats that what you were referring to, and you got various categories that they have buyer meetings. And you can imagine there's thousands of sellers that are trying to get in front of these buyers to get positioning on the shelf. So I would cold call everyone, just ask to talk to the decision makers or the people that I could get to. And with Kroger, with the local guys, you can meet pretty much with ownership. They're pretty much okay with it, especially I came in with an approach like, look, I'm here to make you look good. I'm not selling my product. I'm selling everything else. I'm giving away this product, but let's make sure it looks good. Let's help sell some of your chicken that I'm using the seasoning on. Let's make sure you look good in the store. And I took that message and translated it into the Kroger message, but I also told Kroger, give me limited space and let me prove myself. And I had gone 2 years from the initial phone call with Kroger before I got into the pitch meeting, because they wanted all these other SKUs just to justify a new product on the shelf that no one knows. Because in that world, the buyer gets bonuses off of what moves on the shelf. So why would I put this new unknown product on the shelf when I could put McCormick or Zatarain's in that same slot? Know it's going to move, get the bonus. And then as a buyer, I can move up in this corporate world, which means that we basically don't have a relationship other than can I perform? And when you go into those buyer meetings, everyone has the best product. Everyone is great. Food is pretty much, if you go into the store, you like it, I love it. There is no one up over the other. The consumers dictate what's the higher the best product, not your own personal preference and your past performance. So I went into that meeting just all about, look, give me what I can control. Let me make you look good. We have a cookbook. Let's sell everything in this store, not just my product. I want to be an asset for you. And they told me no. I said I couldn't take no, because by the time I actually had the meeting, a different buyer was in position, because that's the corporate hierarchy. But I had email threads. I showed that I went back and did the exact homework that I was told to do, and he liked the original products. It just wasn't enough. They came back. They said, fine, we'll give you the entire Delta KMA with just 2 products, not all 6. I told them, no, give me my 20, because I'm not about to bite off more than I can chew. And I'm so glad I did, because now I pivoted into seasoning. I pivoted into baked goods, which was strictly a byproduct of my incompetence and not putting all the money back into seasoning, putting it into keeping the business open. So it really worked out in my favor.
That's really impressive. And I think that's definitely a lesson to the GRINDSET audience, to have that tenacity, to be okay with trying a grassroots effort, and to also be okay with hearing no. And you can make that no a yes. So I love that story altogether. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to learn about the first 12 months. So you told us how you got into the stores, but what happened once you were in the stores? You're listening to GRINDSET.
GRINDSET. Riffin' on jazz.
When 2 friends get together to kick it
about jazz, it's called Riffin' on Jazz.
Catch us riffing on jazz every week right here on your favorite broadcast or podcast platforms.
Riffin' on jazz on the KUDZUKIAN Network. KUDZUKIAN! GRINDSET.
We are in the studio with Daniel Watson, owner and operator of Beneva Mayweather Foods. He basically just told us how he got into the Kroger stores, how he got his products on the shelves. But now I want to know, what was it like? You know, what were the first 12 months like having your products on the shelves? What was that journey?
That journey was just straight up excited and nervous as hell because number one, I'm like, okay, before I even got into stores, my investor stopped answering his phone. So he just basically like had me out on a limbo. I'm getting emails from Kroger, who getting emails from the Delta division. That's the KMA Kroger market area that accepted the product. And so now I'm getting emails and they're like, okay, where's this guy with this product? So I had to, thank God I had an investor come in and gave me the upfront cost to get that first order. We're talking about, what was it? 17,000 initially just to get that first order from that co-packer that had minimums just to be able to get the product at a price point that was able to be competitive on the shelf. So I finally get that done. I'm in my car, slanging it out the trunk. I'm driving to about 25, almost 30 stores between Atoka, Lakeland, Arlington, metro area, North Mississippi, and West Memphis. So I'm driving all these stores. It takes literally to hit those stores on the delivery process probably a week because you can only do about 4 or 5 stores per day because there's a window of receiving window. It normally cuts off at 11 o'clock. And if you can't get in, then that's especially with the big brand stores, you have to be able to get that processed and scanned in so your check will come. Because if they don't have that, because the checks are cut from Nashville in their regional offices for this district. So I was just slanging the product out the trunk. Well, not out the trunk. I was delivering it out the trunk. I would try to do demos in stores, but that was a big learning lesson. In those big box stores, they won't allow you to do your own demo, which was a huge part of my marketing campaign because I wanted to be in front of the customer to tell my story and help connect them with the product and do that every single weekend. With the big box, you have to pay their third party vendor because of liability issues. Like you can't have circular toothpicks. You have to have flat toothpicks because someone might slip on a circular toothpick. Things that $1 billion companies think about when they're trying to, sell the product. So I wasn't able to do that, nor did I account for that $120 per store for that demo day. And so I'm like, well, damn. So all I'm doing is just basically delivering product and trying to really figure out how I can get this baked goods side started because I knew that the baked goods, I can freeze them because I was seeing Sister Schubert cornering the market. I'm like, damn, it's a great product. And I like her product, but you cornering the market. No one's out here. So let me go ahead and get a little piece of that pie. And I'm just trying to find a co-packer the whole time while I'm pushing product, keeping that Kroger relationship solid because I knew that that's a good leverage point when I'm trying to close deals with other stores. Like, oh, you got Kroger? Well, of course we give you a shot. And if you give me a shot, I'm going to go seal the deal with the quality and what I'm giving you to the customer. Mm-hmm. And so I'm doing that and I'm constantly doing that. Can't find a baker to pick me up. Too small. We don't want to deal with you like that. It's not like the seasonings. Seasonings, you meet their minimums. They don't care who you are. They're going to put it on the production schedule. Baked goods, I'm trying to find companies. There's no one locally that's big enough. There's no one that's willing to even do the R&D process. And so I'm just trying to figure out. We give you 3 months, give us a call back. And then production leads, that really isn't a long time, but a whole time I'm just trying to figure out whatever little money, put it in demos and trying to keep that Kroger relationship solid till I can pivot into the second category to help offset the slow rate of sale of the seasoning and bring in more revenue because I knew that bread and baked goods were going to move because I'm looking at the market. Now, Daniel,
now hold on. Before we pivot into the second category and into the cinnamon rolls, you just blew through this investor thing. What was your pitch to get somebody to invest their money in your seasoning vision? And because the GRINDSET audience really needs to know about how you find investors and how you pitch them.
Well, initially it was a network deal. This guy was, I'm not going to mention his name. He's very influential locally. People were watching what I was doing. They were like, damn, you did a seasoning and where are you putting the product? And I'm just hustling. I'm just out here doing my thing. And people wanted to kind of talk to me. And when you get to conversations and you kind of in the position that I was in, it becomes about the money. It's not about, well, you need to do this to get to the point where then we'll see what you have. No, I'm at a point where I need money, even though throughout the course of the process, you always have to show your plan and the processes to get to whatever your end game is. At that particular point, I'm slinging out the trunk of my car. I'm closing small relationships with the local stores here. And I'm building something that people see interest in because they can touch it, they can hold it, they can use it, and they like it. And so those introductions came about. But when he just stopped answering his phone, and he, to this day, I think it was just, he's just so busy. Like, I should have been more aggressive, but I'm like, dude, I don't have time. Keep calling you, asking for money. I'm not finna beg you for money. I need to get this deal closed. So another family member that just they were loving what I was doing. They were like, wow, how do you, because everyone in the food game, people love, like, I'm seeing people all cook, everyone cooks, everyone makes meals, and everyone is intrigued by how do you get a product on the shelf. It's just an intriguing kind of deal for people because everyone eats. And so once they were really, because another person wanted to talk to me, and I guess they felt like, no, you don't need to be talking to too many people. Just get with somebody you can trust. And they really just allowed me the opportunity to believe in me. And I think coupled with the fact the original investor backed out, and they were just supportive, and they gave me what I needed, not what I wanted fully, to really have the robust marketing and do the things I felt that were necessary to sustain and actually attain the number of stores necessary to keep a seasoning line on the market. Because I knew I was thinking about 400 stores. But
now hold up.
Stores,
was that a loan, or did you have to give up some ownership interest?
No, it wasn't a loan. It was somewhat equity, not really. It was mostly like they wanted a percentage, but not really. It wasn't lawyers involved. It was just straight, look, we believe in you, and this is what we want. And I'm cool. I'm honoring that, but it's not like I'm like binded by it, anything legally. It's just a matter of my work ethic and what I put into it. The fact that I did good at school, just certain qualifications up until that point shows that, okay, if you burn us, fine, but it hadn't been smooth sailing, but I'm still here and I'm just growing. So
now we're going to focus on the cinnamon roll business, but does that deal also flow into the cinnamon and yeast rolls as well?
I mean, it was everything. It was the whole, because my initial business plan, I knew I was going to be doing this. I just didn't know I was going to be directly doing it. I knew it was going to be part of seasonings, baked goods, frozen entrees. That was the original plan. That's why we're a food product development company, because we're developing all those different types of products, and we'll position ourselves in the end game for buyout or going public or those type of things that we'll address once we really become a robust company with everything moving the way I would like to see it.
GRINDSET.
R&R on Sports.
Former NBA basketball player, Brother Mario Ellie. Welcome to R&R on Sports.
Pleasure to be on here with you guys, man. Thank you guys for having me.
It's R&R on Sports.
KUDZUKIAN. GRINDSET.
Welcome back to GRINDSET. We're here with Daniel Watson, owner of Beneva Mayweather Foods, and we're talking about the transition of business, the pivot, right? What was the financial decision to pivot from seasonings to baked goods?
I ran out of money to buy more seasoning from the co-packer. So I was like, all right, my girlfriend, now wife, was like, you got to do something. So I was in the same old house that my grandmother used to cater. I used it to begin the baking. And I did a cold call to flight restaurants in La Paloma, which is a rehab facility. Yep. And it went from artisan baked good to just blowing up to now we got over 40 stores. I got product shipped out. Well, it's a store in Arkansas, but I guess we're technically multi-state, in Little Rock, convenience stores, grocery, food service. And I essentially am the manufacturer. So now the issues, the financing of not having the money, the minimums to meet a co-packer, and they've been eliminated. I just had to get enough raw materials to be able to produce the order, because I'm a cook to order business. And it allows me to control cost, have some significant margin, and the return is a lot higher because bread and baked goods, the shelf life is way lower than the seasoning, which is years compared to a week.
But for those not in the food business, how does a co-packing relationship work?
basically there are manufacturers out here that will get you a product that is basically, I would say, compliant, for lack of a better word, for a retail space. So you have to have packaging. You need to have your ingredient specs, your nutritional facts panels, the information on the back that gives you all the important data of your product. Those co-packers are designed to be able to create that product in a manner that is consistent with rules and regulations for a store to feel comfortable allowing you to be placed on the shelf, and they can meet your production demands. So if you need to have, let's say you get 30 stores and everyone ordering a case, and your case of 10, that's 300 different units. You need to be able to have that produced, packaged, consistently shaped and sized, because everything in a store is basically strategic. And you need to know the specs of your bottles. You need to know your freshness seals. Co-packers, these are the big companies that can do that for you. And so you don't have to do it out of the house, which probably isn't compliant. It probably doesn't have the regulators coming in to ensure that it's safe enough to produce here. You're probably not in a position to scale it to where you can do 5 stores, let alone 20, 50, 100,000, whatever the case may be. And you're able to get it to where you know that if the consistency is there and the price point is where you be able to justify, if you have a business plan or you're looking at investors, these are the competent companies that we're using to create this product. Here's the price point. Here's the specs on it. Here's where we'll go on the shelf. The store wants to know, okay, how deep will the product be? How tall will it be? Where can we place it? Because they have companies that set, quote unquote, these are called planograms. When you go into a grocery store, that's why when you walk in, you're probably going to run into vegetables or baked goods first. You're then going to run into your meats, and then everything in between is just the stuff with that. All of that is strategically done in place. So it's best to have, if you're not set up for it, which I'm in the bake space, to back to your original question, pivoting into that bake space, that's what I'm becoming, because now I'm the manufacturer. And by virtue of the fact the way I position the product is positioned to be a high visibility, high rotation product. It's fresh. I have frozen sections, which you know, you get 60, 90 days with baked goods, but where the high rate of sale I see is through the convenience stores, the impulse purchases. And we're creating an ecosystem where we're rotating that product. We not only make sure our product is good, we make sure everybody's product look good. We make that store look good. We want to be an asset for the store. I'm not selling rolls and cinnamon rolls. I'm giving it away. I'm selling you this passion, this hustle, this commitment to excellence, knowing that I'm trying to make it better for everybody. I'm going to try to make sure we're straight, but we're looking out for this whole ecosystem, because in the food business, grocery business especially, you look good, I look good. You got a dirty store, nobody gonna want to buy anything out this store. You got a clean store, you make sure your consumer product, it might be turned backwards or it's flat down. If you're there putting your product on the shelf, just straighten up that little area. You don't have to go through the whole store. Just try to make sure you're doing your part. And then you get into a position where now, hey, the co-packer relationship, I wanted it at first because I was going to go to Walmart and the big players and just basically sell the brand. Because hey, I got Kroger, I'm going to go get you this baked goods. I can get, Walmart, you better be able to fill a truckload, or QVC, you better have 10,000 units ready to roll, or you're going to mess up that relationship, which is equally as bad as not having enough money to buy product, or not having your presence in the stores. If you don't have an ability to make sure the store makes money, which is different from the consumer enjoying the product, they do cross over, but the stores need field shelves, they need fresh product, it needs to look good. And it needs to make sure that real estate is okay. But the consumer, how much money am I spending? Do I like it? Is it in the case of, Popeyes, it's popular, I'm going to ride that wave. Or, it's so many different elements within consumer that the stores, they cater to, because they got all the products in the world you can think of in most cases. But they also cater to the fact we're a store. Our profitability is made off of this real estate within the store, because that's where we get paid. We don't make any of this stuff. We just basically house it for people to come in. And now they're basically turning into warehouses because everything is so virtual, and stores aren't necessary to have the ambiance and the decor. That's why if you go into most stores, it's almost like an experience. We got a cafe, we got deli, we got so much going on, because
they want to keep you there.
Keep you there because it's not valuable. It's people want to just buy stuff and get it delivered. Amazon is showing you that. You know what I'm saying? And they're slowly, the experience still has value, but in a grocery store, like most of these stores, they're just basically warehouses that are losing money, because now people are just going to go virtual. And in fact, when I went back to Kroger to try to introduce the baked goods, I didn't go to Cincinnati, I went local. It was right before the crash. The Amazon acquisition. And everything kind of stopped because Amazon flipped the game so much internally. People didn't know how it was going to go. And that's where you're starting to see where the delivery system right now, it's not really a standard kind of stabilized viewpoint, but right now that delivery model coupled with the fact that they're able to undercut costs, which means that they don't necessarily have to put that upmark for this space that we're leasing or this big real estate. We can basically cut a deal, get you higher quality with their Whole Foods relationship, and change the behavior of customers that are going into this experience that we've invested in. Walmart sustained last year, but they pretty much didn't have a great Christmas because it's slowly changing over. So
absolutely,
being able to have a product that is, an asset for the stores is real big.
And so this is one of the things I've been wanting to know, because our GRINDSET show are for budding entrepreneurs, people that are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs. What were some of the biggest sacrifices you've had to make to grow your business? And then did you have a business mentor kind of coaching you along the way?
Oh, yeah. Shit, man. Biggest sacrifice is just being I don't want to say, I can't cuss, but I haven't been the best father.
You can.
I haven't been a shitty father and husband. I guess that's the biggest sacrifice because, like, man.
That family balance.
Yeah, man. My roof caved in the original kitchen. Like, this happened last April. My roof caved in. I went from, zero rent to last year I did $16,000 in rent, which is not a lot, but it's just the fact I had zero.
Right.
My business is growing because I'm in a more efficient space, and I'm like, dang, I got to keep in the customer demand because now I'm dealing with the stores. Hey man, where you at with the product? We need product. I'm like, dude, I just dropped the order off yesterday. Like, let it rotate a little bit. I get it's moving, but
it's a good problem.
Yeah, it's a good problem, but I'm like, I'm not gonna be at home, bro, and I got I got home stuff that it don't care about all of this. Yeah, I better make some money and bring it home, but it doesn't care about that side of it, nor do they have to. And it's like, man, I had to, I've been trying to be, figuring it out. And that's why I'm eventually about to step out the business and have my team come in and hire a quality.
I wanted to know, did you have a team? Because I feel like your brand is synonymous with Daniel Watson. Like, who else is on the team? Do you have one?
Man, Jesus, you know what I'm saying?
Amen.
Yeah, but I've been trying to build it out. It's just, man, trying to. Hey, I know I'm gonna go get them. Okay, go tell mommy. Okay, thank you, buddy. I know. Go play. Let daddy get through. Okay. Thank you.
Well, see, that's the beautiful thing about quarantine right now. You get to be with the family.
Oh man, let's look. Like I said, I'm cool. And plus, like, demand hadn't stopped because fortunately, food is comfort and people are searching for it, and the stores are booming. And as you can see, certain things are booming in the midst of this. But
Jesus is on your team. Who?
Yeah, for sure. The universe, my all the deceased OGs that have passed on. But it's just me right now. But right now, currently, I'm working on and the only reason I do that because my whole thing, I grew up in environments where I've seen people not make payroll, had the best intentions, they need a team, came out with it, and then you can't meet payroll. And I've seen it personally, and I don't want to say it's hindered me, but I'm cognizant of being able to make sure that I have reserves in place to handle what's necessary to meet payroll, just in case we have a lull period or whatever the case may be. And as a result of being on that hamster wheel, it's constantly nonstop where I've had to, because of the sacrifices and just seeing my children, I'm building a standard operating procedure for them. I already have a general manager and a quality control manager because I sell the process. I need to make sure consistency and quality is there because it's nothing that's such thing as a bad product. You got Big Texas, you have Sister Schubert that make millions and millions of units, and people will more than happily buy them and not miss a beat. But if I'm going to buy my product at a higher premium, that process has to be intact. And I'm going to pay someone to make sure that process is administered. They will do the hiring for me. I plan on hiring 1 quality control manager, 2 baking associates to be able to meet current demand. And then from there, hopefully we can long-term turn this into a B Corp where we're open hire. I don't care who you are, what you are. You're not here to make our product. We're here to make you great, to springboard you into whatever you want to do. If you want to stick with us, great, but we want to make and cultivate greatness. And it'll be doing that through teaching this process, hopefully create a micro bakery system of artisan products where we can duplicate it and scale it, hopefully to be able to do it across the country where we're creating these micro bakeries to be able to service the same type of customers we service in Memphis, convenience stores, grocery stores, restaurants, they're all over the place, and create that B corporation, that social component to where, hey man, you come here, we're going to get get you paid. We're going to teach you principles that will hopefully unlock your greatness, and you can contribute back to society, and we can sell a great product. And if that's something that either can be taken public, or if someone wants to come and buy us out so I can really come back and live my life and do things beyond just this business, then that'll be what it is.
Well, Daniel, thank you so much for sharing. And on top of that, the GRINDSET audience always needs to know, where can we find more information about Beneva Mayweather Foods and what you all are doing? So social media, phone numbers, websites, if they exist.
Yeah, social media. My social media is a combination of life and everything. So yeah, enjoy the ride. Beneva Mayweather Foods on Instagram. On IG, it's Mayweather Flavor without the O. On Twitter, it's Mayweather Flavor without the O. And website is mayweatherfoods.com. Don't call me, but info at mayweatherfoods.com. I respond to all emails. I'm be real with you, the phone. I will talk to whoever, and if you can find me, if you email me, I will call you. But we don't leave it at that.
It's part of your system. I love it. You got to have a system in place.
For sure. And there's products. They're all over the market. There are too many different places to name to really would be something you can catch. But they're pretty much everywhere in the city. I shut down production just because I was getting my life right and just looking at things. I didn't think, selling product. I didn't think my product was essential at all, nor did I think it was just right for me to be in the world. So I shut down production during this period. But I've been working. I got product in certain stores. I don't market anything because I market very aggressively. And I just don't think it's just a good time to just be all about making money. I think I'm just at a different point with just where we are right now. But I'm about to crank up production, and I have product stocked in all over the city again. And that's hopefully, if y'all want to indulge in some greatness, you can find it and see what we're about.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us on GRINDSET. Cynthia, you got anything before we close out?
No, I just know when the world opens up, I want a cinnamon roll.
For sure, y'all. Hey, I'm coming. Tell Larry I'm coming to stock the place. I got to come check y'all out too. Kirk told me great things that happened. I've been up there in a while, and I got to come show love to the fam and to you guys. I've been a huge fan. I haven't caught all of you guys' podcasts, but I caught enough to see Cynthia. I already know you've been down since day one, and Brack, it's a pleasure to meet you and Morehouse brother. But just what y'all are doing, and just the way it translates on the internal side when you're going through it, it's invaluable. Y'all are really jewels in this city, and when people going through it to get to it, it is everyone that doesn't understand it, because everyone ain't in that going out there trying to make it happen, but there are a ton of people that are. And y'all are truly assets for that movement. And I thank you both, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you again. And we'll be right back with the Woman Power Moment and Major Keys. You've been listening to GRINDSET, and we'll be right back after the break.
GRINDSET.
I'm Leslie Lynn Smith, President and CEO of Epicenter, and we've partnered with KUDZUKIAN. Each episode, hosts Cynthia Daniels and Williams Brack talk shop with Memphis' brightest and best entrepreneurs. Check it out by downloading the KUDZUKIAN app or find us on your favorite podcast provider.
Welcome back to GRINDSET. We just finished interviewing Daniel Watson, CEO and owner of Beneva Mayweather Foods. And of course, he's a Morehouse grad. And of course, I need to promote, when this quarantine is over, or even before, go out and try the cinnamon rolls. But Daniel also left us with some great major keys that I want to share. And the first one is, don't be afraid to pivot. I mean, he started with seasonings, but his business plan always calls for baked and frozen goods. And when things just don't work out, or when you have to pivot, do so. Don't be afraid to take no for an answer. I think the second round it took 2 years in the Kroger process, and he had to deal with 2 different purchasing agents. One said, yes, do these things, and the other said no, but he had receipts, and he was able to get his seasonings into the store. And know your capabilities and don't bite off more than you can chew. He was offered 50, but he knew his capabilities were 20 stores. And then lastly, for success, especially in the foods business, make sure your customers, which are the stores and the restaurants, are just as successful as the consumers who like your products. Your customers and consumers need to both win. And you can tell Daniel's passion. If you're not passionate about your business, don't be in it. His passion even helped him get investors. Cynthia?
So Daniel definitely came with a lot of passion during this interview, and I found the perfect quote for him. Some people want it to happen. some people wish it would happen. Others make it happen. And that is from Michael Jordan.
Hey.
So what better person to show you that? You have to put in the work. You know, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but are you really about that grind and hustle? And that's what Daniel did coming out the gate. He did not take no for an answer.
Daniel is definitely about his grind set. Thank you all for tuning in. You've been listening to GRINDSET, powered by the KUDZUKIAN Network. We'll see you next episode.
GRINDSET. Executive producer, Epicenter. GRINDSET is directed, produced, and distributed by KUDZUKIAN.